I have an unpopular opinion today. And I think you see a lot of content out there talking about quantum leaps and creating a new reality for your life, and that is perfectly okay. But I don't think a lot of people share about the importance of honoring who you once were, whether that was good or bad. I do see that it's super powerful for us to show ourselves grace and making peace with maybe even past mistakes or just very negative situations that could have defined us for a bit. But this is the whole point of why I want to share this message, is because it shouldn't define you. When you're able to acknowledge that this was something that led to growth, that this was something that you learned from, to have the possibility of really creating a life that represents the best version of you. So I just want to share this message because this is something I experienced myself. I was a person who was very hypocritical of herself. I really, really had a hard time with letting go of what other people could think about me based off on how I said things, how I acted, or the decisions I made for myself and my life. And almost to a point that I was very, very just not happy. I wasn't authentic. I wasn't my best self because I was always thinking about these things, really, really not at peace. So when I came to terms with these things and when I allowed myself to really let go of this by honoring it, by literally just acknowledging it, I literally felt a sense of freedom. I felt like I could literally breathe. I felt like something shifted substantially. And look, I'm not here to say, oh, do this and do that. I'm more so here to share a message that really led to growth in my case. And if you connect with this message, if you happen to stumble upon this video, then maybe this message is for you. Maybe we can learn about this a bit more and find a possibility for us to really create the life that we want. So enough rant about that. I wanted to back up this thought that I had because I love my thoughts, right? I love how I process things and I love how mature I can be about it. But I really wanted to also take the time to research what neuroplasticity says. And it basically states that we have this possibility to reframe things with a term called narrative healing. And I researched just this a bit, and it talks about how instead of labeling a past mistake as a flawed character of yours, almost like if it defines you, we could instead just acknowledge it as something that was a lesson, something that we grew from, and not that, not something that is part of us, because that's when it becomes an issue. When you start defining yourself by your evidence, by your behaviors and thoughts, and by situations, is when the problem occurs. And that's what almost stops your growth. So that is something that you could consider to just acknowledge and think about. I feel like I say the word acknowledge a lot. I love acknowledging things. We have to be very honest with ourselves, We have to really confront ourselves. We have to really face our fears and face everything that we have in front of us and in the side and on our sides and in the back, so that we can really break free. Yeah, I like that. Break free. Break free. Break free, sis. So that's that. Becoming the observer also is something very powerful, becoming the observer of your own life. of your thoughts, of your feelings, of your behaviors, not in a hypercritical way like I once were, but more so to allow yourself to reframe it. Because this is something that I see as a very challenging part of my journey, specifically, is that when I wasn't there we go again. When I wasn't aware of this, is or wanted to almost like forget about it or like just bury it, it wasn't working out for me. It really wasn't. It was working out for me when I literally was able to practice this consistently on a daily basis until I felt like I didn't have to, because it just became my new reality. And maybe that's where my quantum leap happened. Maybe. Who knows? But I did feel like something shifted when I was doing that. And also when I created practices that allowed it. Like, for example, I recommend journaling. I recommend the healing letter. I like to call that a healing letter. And that's writing a letter to yourself from yourself, dedicated to that person that may be that past version of yourself that was maybe hard to think about, or that it was just a very tough situation, circumstance, or actions that you did in the past. And just with this goal of letting it go, of making amends and amends with it, or with that person who you almost let define you. So the healing letter is something very powerful. I recommend that. Just, journal about it, write a letter. If you want to do your own ritual about writing the letter and then burning it, and that's the way you can feel you actually let it go. Really take the time to feel everything, to work through it. And I think that's something I recommend. I like visualizations, and I did this once at the gym. I was at the elliptical, and I imagine all the past versions of myself right in front of me, like literally right in front of my eyes, because I had many. Girl, I'm telling you, I had many past versions of myself. My sister once told me, actually, like, we've gone through so many phases with you. Like, it's just like, what's next, And I said, well, maybe I wasn't meant to live just one life, but many. I have one life, but I have this possibility of experiencing so much, And I think that's the beauty of really living life. So I imagined, like I mentioned, these past versions of myself in front of me and just clapping for me, literally clapping for me, being proud of who I became and so much that I overcame. And it was just something very powerful that shifted within me. So that's something I could recommend for you to do. And yeah, I hope you just find this video helpful in some way, for you to really be on the path of creating substantial change for yourself. I don't want anything but that for you. I don't know who you are exactly, but if we're connected now through this video, I really hope for the best, and I hope this serves a purpose. Thank you. Till the next video.